Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome Max Homa to the interview room at the Players' Championship. Max, welcome. You're having a great season, 2 wins so far, 4 top 10s, and entering the week second in the FedExCup. Can you talk about opening thoughts with momentum going into the Players?
It's nice to have momentum coming into the Players. This place is really tricky, so I think confidence is a big part of the week. And it's nice to have that. But yeah, obviously I've been playing some really good golf. It's been quite consistent, so it's kind of fun to arrive at a massive event and not feel like I'm tinkering with anything or trying to do anything different, knowing that if I just keep doing what I've been doing, the birdies will come and hopefully the bogeys will hide in the corner.
And this is your 3rd start at the Players, best finished T13 last year. Just talk about the course a bit and your thoughts on your game to the stadium course.
Yeah, last year was quite the anomaly. You know, I played that Saturday in the tornado, and that was really difficult, but it was fun to play well that day, play well enough to play 4 rounds here, and then give myself an opportunity on Sunday to continue to learn the golf course. Obviously, I was quite a ways back as I teed off on 10, but I played really well that day. I shot 67, I think, and I felt like at least I kind of built up the idea that I can play quite well around this place. I think it suits me. I'm a good iron player typically, and I think it requires quite a bit of precision, but it's just a bear. If you're out of position off the tee, you're going to be out of position until you get it in the hole. So I like the place for the way I'm hitting it. I think I can keep myself in the right spots and give myself some looks at birdies and maybe some extra stress-free pars that I think go a long way over 4 days.
We'll open to questions. We'll start back here with Dylan.
Yeah, Max, I was wondering, did you go to the Players meeting this morning?
I did not. I wanted to, and then my kid, Cam, had I'll save you guys the details, but I was a little late.
I'm just wondering if you have a sense of how the PGA Tour changes are being received by the membership at large and how those conversations have been going.
Yeah, a pretty big mixed bag. I think if you're someone like me who's been in more meetings than I had ever been in prior to this year, I think we grasp the entirety of what has been presented and worked on. And I think I've been fortunate that a few other players who aren't in all of those meetings have come up to me and we've chatted about them. They've asked me, questions about it, but I've kind of more so asked them how they feel about it and what, their hang-ups may be. And something I have heard quite a bit of in these conversations is, well, I understand this isn't for me as I'm not a top 50 player. And I've been trying to do my best to explain that this is for everybody. There's room for growth up to that top 50, or even in a micro version, you play a couple good weeks and get into these events. I've really racked my brain on this quite a bit, and I don't see how this isn't better for every member of this tour. I think it makes it more competitive at the top. It has a bigger pot of gold at the end of the competitive rainbow for the guys at the maybe just outside the designated event area going into next year. So I've been just trying to explain that to people, and if they still have a problem with it, then that's okay. But I just feel like it's been a bit tricky because I'm not sure all of the information has been presented perfectly, and I don't think that all of the information has been presented. So I think, I didn't get to watch it yet, but I imagine Jay's press conference today explained quite a bit of it, and it's not so much of playing telephone.
And then what has it been like for you, who has obviously kind of seen every side of professional golf, to now be in this position where you're in these meetings and guys are coming to you with concerns and kind of being a person in that now power position?
Yeah, I think, as I said last week, which is kind of interesting, and I know when I say this, it's just the internet, and it's just people on my Instagram telling me things about how I what they think I think. But so many people say, well, you wouldn't have thought this back in 2016, 2017, although I have said, like last week, that I did believe in this. I didn't know about this exact model, but I did believe in this, I guess, the crux of what's changed. So when people do talk to me about it, I feel like I have a good perspective on it. I have vivid memories of when I wasn't someone who was being asked questions or someone who was in meetings. I was someone hoping to meet someone who was in meetings so I could ask these questions. So I've seen both, and I remember both, and I still live my life and make my decisions and form my opinions based off of both, kind of sides of professional golf that I've seen. So I understand not everyone will believe that, and so much of this looks like, it's just a great way for me to make money. But I can promise you that that is not why I play golf, and that's not that is not my opinion on this. I think this is really a great thing for upping competition on this tour. I think it's great for the fans, as we will have more of the top players battling more often, and I think it's going to be really exciting at events that aren't designated to see that if you win, yes, you're in the designated events, but even if you don't, if you have a great week, you're one step closer to getting in that designated event, or maybe closer to getting that top 50 at the end of the year to be doing this the next year. So I don't know. I see it as a benefit in so many ways. Obviously, there's little tinkering you could do here and there. I'm not going to say anything's perfect, as we haven't even seen it yet, but I do believe in this quite a bit.
We'll go to the back with Don.
Max, congratulations on becoming a father recently. How has this life-changing event changed your perspective on life, and how might that impact your perspective on golf?
It didn't change my perspective on golf much. I have to work on not treating it like it's the end of the world anyways. It does help quite a bit when I leave Bay Hill on Sunday and my family had flown in that day and I got to go pick up Cam. That was really cool, just because it was very exciting and I missed him a lot. So little things like that cheer me up. Even, Sunday I played with Jordan, and he made quite a great run at winning that thing and came up just shy. And as we're walking to scoring, Sammy, his son, ran to him with a big stick in his hand. And you could just see how Jordan's emotions changed. And I thought that was quite nice. So little things like that, I think, to cheer me up. I don't think it's changed my perspective, but I do think I've gotten quite a bit more efficient in practice. I'm someone who loves to be at the golf course, but I don't love it as much when I know my kid is at home and my wife is on her own. So I do feel like I've done a good job of getting the same value of work done in a little bit less time. And I think that's clearly not hindered my golf this year. So that's been cool. But I like now that when I'm off the golf course, I feel like I'm off the golf course. And that's not something that I could say prior to him being in my life.
It's early days, but do you think this new life for you might make you a better golfer?
Yeah, I mean, it could. I would like to say that they're independent. When I'm practicing and playing, I'm still playing to be the best me I can be. It sure is motivating to want to win golf tournaments as he gets older so that he can run to me with a big stick, maybe when I have a trophy in my hand. But obviously I understand regardless, he's not going to think of me any differently if I don't. So, I don't see why if I can keep the two independent in a way, it's more motivating than it is pressure. So I would assume that would help.
If we could bring the mic back up here to James. James, raise your hand, please.
Max, hi. As someone who's been sort of involved in the PGA Tour's broadcast changes over the last couple months, and particularly considering the designated events this year, have you been paying more attention to the TV ratings that have come out about the PGA Tour?
Yeah, I actually had a good discussion with Jay about this after Waste Management. I had read something that we had fairly low ratings at one of the events, and I was kind of asking him, does this concern you, considering the changes we're about to make? And he said, first and foremost, that just straight up TV ratings isn't the way the world works anymore. If you think about the Waste Management, as he put it, so much fanfare, especially, and this is corny, but all the celebrities and people who aren't in the game of golf intimately that are out there and sharing it via social media or with their friends is boosting not only the PGA Tour, but golf in general, which I think is great. So that was quite interesting. And then, of course, a day or two later, he sent me the final ratings of it. And it was, I think, the highest event. I can't remember what day, Saturday or Sunday, but it was the highest viewed event since the Players the year prior. So I thought that was a really good sign. I think it's easy for us to, as players, to look at these events and say, man, this is working great. Like, look at the last few designated events and the finishes and the players battling against each other and the leaderboards and just all of it. And it just seems so great. But, it's hard. It's not like I would assume that would mean great ratings and great attention, but we don't know that. So I kind of lean on, since I've had this conversation with Jay, where he can kind of continue to show me, not just explain, but show me that it is doing a great job. And again, I know I'm probably sounding like I just keep reiterating myself, but the reason I love this product model is because I'm a fan of golf. I love watching golf, and I've loved watching golf since I was a little kid. It's why I play it. And my attention is, of course, on my performances and being the best me I can be, but it's also on making sure that golf is thriving, and as I'm on the PGA Tour is thriving, and that people are watching it, because I love this game, and I want other people to get involved and love this game and watch it. I don't want to be a part of a product that people find to be boring and stale. So I am very much about what we're doing and these meetings and pushing the envelope and making changes that benefit the golf fan, because again, I am a golf fan.